Yeah, they should. Do you guys have all your computers on you? No computer? You don't? Hmm. Okay. How many of you guys have your computers on you? You do?
and get a copy of the checklist. I'm amazed at how many teams have never seen the checklist until us yellow caps show up, and then they look at it.
All right, everyone.
Get a copy of the checklist, download it, and
All
walk
right, guys,
through it
welcome
with
to
your
Intro to
robot
CAD,
and your team,
Intro to Onshape.
and make sure you meet all the requirements.
So,
the beauty of the checklist
show of hands real quick.
is
How
that
many of you
every
guys have
single
used
question
or already kind of
that we
experienced CAD?
review and,
Most of you guys?
and check
Okay,
on
that's
your
pretty good.
robot references
So we'll
the
probably get
rule
through
number
pretty easily,
right by
but
the checklist
the idea
item,
behind today
so that if you don't
is to
understand
get you guys from
why you can't put
everybody who's new too.
a number
Get you from the very
16
beginning,
wire
just
on a
making an
40
account
amp
all the way up
breaker,
to making
it'll
parts and
reference
making
you to
assembly.
the
So
table and the rules
we're gonna
that
get
tell
started
you
here
what
with
is the
creating an
legal
account.
size wire for a
So I'll
40
tell you
amp
guys
breaker,
a lot of you are already
understand
making
it.
an account.
Um,
But if you guys could go to onshape.com
biggest problem.
and follow along.
So we got some
Number
other
one,
inspectors in
go to
here. Would you all
onshape.com
agree that
and click
these are
on
usually
don't
a
have an account, sign
robot's
up.
overweight, and we have to help the team put the robot
you're
on
here,
a diet. Okay.
Go to
We do see
oh, it's already hold on, I need to log out.
frame perimeters
on,
that
I'm
are
sorry.
a little too big every once in a while, or we'll see
Okay.
a mechanism that sticks too far outside the
account, sign
frame
up.
perimeter.
Create a
And
student
again,
account.
we're going to work with the team to try
It's
to
gonna
help
take
them
you to this
make
Onshape for
whatever minor
education area.
modifications are necessary
Now you're gonna do.
to get them within compliance.
You okay, sir?
And then finally,
okay.
Andy wanted me to make sure and tell you all that Andy is Andy Shimamoto.
Okay, you're
He's
good.
one of our LRIs here in Kansas City. The 3 B's of your robot.
Yeah.
So bumpers.
You're gonna fill out this box
battery,
right here.
And by
and
ballast,
do,
he means
it's gonna take you
nothing
to
illegal. We'll talk
I'll make
about
an
that
account
here
real
on mechanical in a minute. You'd be amazed at what people have tried to weight their robot down with. Has anybody heard about coffee beans? Yeah, we had a team one year that had
right
weighted
here.
down part of their
It's
frame.
gonna take you to
They
a
filled it
new
with coffee
page.
beans.
We're gonna fill out all the
Well,
details
it
on it.
breaks
It's gonna
open
give you
and
a
coffee beans spill
email
all over
confirmation
the field.
you're gonna go through.
It makes a
It's
little
gonna make
tough
you
to
a
play
student
robot.
account real quick. So I'm gonna give you guys
you'll
probably
see that
about
here in a minute.
another 5 minutes around here.
Anyway, if you got any questions,
and actually quickly while we're doing this, I want to point out we have Hunter. Can you raise your hand in the back? That's Hunter right there. We have Aubrey right next to him.
And then we've
we have Liam over here.
Krantz, our program delivery
so
partner.
Here's our 3 people that are going to be kind of going around here today and walking through.
So
and if you guys have any
break
questions
down
or
the
any
checklist
help,
a bit. It's
they're going to be there for
basically
you.
mechanical.
On another note, if you guys need me to slow down,
turn the
or
robot
if you need me
on,
to speak louder, just raise your hand and I can
checking some
I
things
can do that
with
for you.
Robo Rio and your RSL.
But
so safety.
I'll give 5 minutes quickly here to make an
Andy
account.
had a great picture of jousting here,
and we'll
so
move
I
on.
kept it. The robots are out there. The bumpers help keep them separated. You don't want them tearing each other up, but we're looking for things that could be damaging the field, damaging the game elements. Who all remembers the notes from last year or 2 years ago? Did everybody have that lovely name for the little pieces of notes that ended up and filled your robot? What was that called? Zest? Yeah, I remember you had the orange zest. We called it Cheetos dust. Anyway, that's the kind of thing. The mechanisms can be hard on the game pieces. So we're, as inspectors, we're generally given guidance up front before we start inspecting robots that these are the kind of things you're looking for. Make sure they don't have spiky wheels grabbing a foam game piece because they're probably going to shred it, as an example. We're looking for no sharp edges. We don't want either the FTA, if they're helping you get your robot going so that light's not blinking by your driver's station, or if a field reset person is in there redoing the field and they come in contact with your robot, we don't want any sharp edges. So as an inspector, we're going to kind of check around your robot, feel it, any places that look like they could be sharp. We may ask you to take a file to it just to break the sharp on that so nobody gets cut or hurt. Obviously, we got to be able to get the game pieces out at the end of the match. I watched at Central Missouri this last year them take a robot off the field and disassemble it to get the cage, the metal cage you climb with. They brought in a backup cage and hung it on the field so they could play the next match. And it took like 5 to 10 minutes for them to get their robot apart because something malfunctioned. They couldn't get the cage out of the robot. So you have to make sure that you can let go of the field and that you can retrieve and return the game pieces to the field reset people at the end of the match. Obviously, you can't have any, you look about gracious professionalism, you can't have any like blinding lights or anything that would mess up someone's limelight camera or their sensors. You don't want to blind the other team so they can't play the game. Anybody remember the pool bot down at Central Missouri? was 11 and 2. Oh yeah, so we had a bot that had some manufacture or some performance issues, so they ended up putting a kiddie pool on the robot. They called it Pool Bot, and it was a big, and it said, aim here. Well, the real purpose of that swimming pool was they were blocking the April tags. So the other team couldn't auto align. Their driver was having to manually align the robot to shoot and score. But it wasn't illegal at the time.
Account?
So
pretty good. Raise the
that's
hands.
the kind of stuff
I see the thumbs up. Nope.
When you see new rules come
the
out,
back,
it's
sir.
usually
You shake
because
your head at
somebody
me?
did something
No
clever,
account yet?
but probably is not considered fair
You're all
the
good.
previous
You're all good.
year. So that's the, must not interfere with other robot sensors. Decorations. It's great to have LEDs on your light that tell the driver, okay, I'm ready to collect an object. I have a coral or an algae in my intake and I'm ready to score it. My robot's at the right height. I can go ahead and hit the deploy button or score button. Those kinds of things are good. But again, like I mentioned earlier, no bright lights or nothing that would scramble another robot sensors on purpose. So any questions on mechanical? Has anybody run into anything with an inspection mechanical that you've got a question about? Mentors or kids, students? No? Okay. Electrical. I love this picture. Andy had this. He's got a master main breaker right in the mouth of an alligator. So you'd be surprised during inspections the places we find main breakers. They'll be buried down in the belly of a robot, and the team will be like, well, you can reach your arm in here like this, and you can get under there, and you can turn it on and off. That's great unless your robot's malfunctioning, and somebody might get hurt trying to turn the power off to your robot, or you might even get hurt doing that. Does everybody know what a robot bite is? Certainly everybody's had to experience that at one time or another. Robot bite? What's a robot bite? Go ahead.
Going on your side, Amber.
Yeah, something on your robot moves when you got your hand in it and you weren't expecting it, and all of a sudden you're missing a hunk of skin, or you broke a fingernail or something. Gary knows what robot bites are? You've experienced those? All too well.
In fact, I had to, should I high-five the judges for the safety award with a finger band.
All right. Another raise of hands. Who has got an account made?
Yeah.
Okay. That's everyone, right?
Yes.
All right.
So key
Then
points for
electrical
electrical is, again, we've talked about this already. There's going to be the new version of the VH109 radio.
Once you get signed into Onshape, you should be on a screen like this right here.
If you're going to use last year's robot,
right here?
or excuse me, last year's radio, it is still legal.
Before we move on,
but just make sure you're aware of the
go up to
PoE
the top right corner here,
power backfeed
App Store
problem
icon.
Into your RoboReo.
Just click on it.
And then wire
And that should
gauges
take you
and
here.
breakers must match. I've said this multiple times during this presentation. That is one
Then
of the
we are
biggest
going to
things that
search
I help teams with.
For
Is
MK
they'll have
CAD.
too small of a wire on too big of a breaker. So how do we fix
It's going to
that?
pop up with MK CAD library.
One of the students to tell me what's the way you can fix it. If you got too small a wire,
You should be
what do you
able
think?
to install this. This is going
use
to
a bigger
have
wire.
all
If you're
FRC
in a
parts
rush,
it that you would
what's
need.
another quick solution you could do?
That's what you use for a lot of the time.
Most teams don't like this, but it does make it legal. You can take the big breaker out and put in a small one. But if it's on your drive motor for your swerve drive, chances
And after that,
are
just go back to the home screen.
you're not going to like the results on that, because it's going to trip the breaker, and then you're going to be dead on the field till the breaker cools and resets.
But
so
yeah, you should be able to
but
click
there
on
are
it.
multiple solutions.
It should
And
say
then,
subscribe on it.
Only use allowed components. Very rarely do we see
If I cancel plan here,
some component that's not on the list.
right here.
I don't even try to
And it is
memorize
free.
all the legal motors anymore. I look for the ones that I'm used to, and if I see those, that's fine. If I see an oddball motor, then I got to pull my inspector's book out and start looking to see if it's a legal motor. So the big advice on that is, if you've got something and you know it's legal, but you think the inspector might question it, bring some documentation with it, because we are not perfect as inspectors. And as much as we try to stay current on all the rules and know all the details, you might have seen something in a Chief Delphi
By the way,
chat,
for everyone online,
or
you can't ask questions. We have someone that is on the computer right now.
well, it's actually like the laptop died. We're just about finished here.
Oh, yeah. They should be.
The wrong size wire
If
for the
you
job.
want to also, we can give you guys.
So,
it should be online too. The actual.
Let's see, we did
I can give
mechanical,
you
electrical. So
my
powering on
notepad
is the
here, too.
final main thing about
And
inspections
that's
I want to
need
talk to you all
If
about
this
after
doesn't
electrical.
work out either.
When we have you power up
This
the
doesn't
radio,
have
we're
everything on it. This
making
is my
sure that
notepad,
all
but
your
that's gonna
firmware
have-
versions on your
that's
driver
more
station,
Of
on
like
your Robo
a
Rio,
guide to
that they're the
other
current
parts I'm going to be referring back to.
versions of software, so that they don't have any glitches and that they work correctly with the FMS. We're
So-
also going to ask you to make sure your team number is correct on there, because
yeah.
that's how the FMS identifies
Yeah,
your
yeah.
robot.
11.
And then finally,
Okay.
one of the things we check, we'll have you enable the robot, and
10.
we're looking
Work.
for the RSL light to flash on your robot, knowing that it's been enabled.
All right.
And on the
Does
Robo
anyone not
Rio,
have
there is an
the
amber
MK CAD
RSL
library
light
yet?
as well. Those two have to flash
You
in
don't?
sequence.
Okay.
If they don't, something's wrong.
Okay.
And I've never seen that ever. But
Then you'll start with the
apparently
home
it's a thing.
screen now.
So we have to make sure that
If you guys
your
are still
RSL
on the
I did
App
skip
Store library,
pneumatics. How many
Just click on
teams
the
still
big
use
left
pneumatics on your robots?
on-chip icon.
We'll still cover
and
it,
it should
but I'm
take you
just
back.
curious. We've kind of got away from them over the years
But
ourselves at Bronco.
You guys should be on a screen that looks like this up here.
There's a whole set of safety
What's gonna
inspections
have
on pneumatics.
Number at the very
The key
top
takeaway on that
on your
is
left-hand
that we're
side.
making sure you're
You're gonna
using
see
the
this
right
on-chip
working
logo button.
pressures, no
On
more than
here,
60
it's going to be
psi,
either a home screen,
and we are
take you back
also
there to the
looking
home screen, which
for
is this, or it's going to be a refresh. Straight as a
things
refresh,
where
so
you might cause an overpressure
reload.
situation. If your
But
compressor is not
on
wired
the
up
right-hand
to
side here,
either
we have our
a
notifications.
PCM, which is
We
a
have
pressure
any action
control
items, which
module,
we'll go
or
over later.
pneumatics
And
hub
again, our App Store.
to control its operation,
And
that's
the App Store,
illegal,
again,
because the compressor
you guys
could come
don't
on
just
and
have
stay
to
on.
get MKCAD library from that. It has a lot of other
What else is there?
add-ons you can have. So if you guys are
pretty well been
looking for maybe like cam
the problem's
at all,
been solved
that's
long enough that
another
we
option,
haven't
or
seen
any
you for a few
maybe
years.
simulations.
But
So
about 6-8 years ago,
then we
there
have
was
our
a
learning center.
version of the Clipper
So the
tanks,
learning center
the
here
little, those
is
pneumatic storage tanks,
basically
that were white, and they had
it
the
teaches you
words
CAD fully.
Clippered, and all
It's
the
going to go more in
information on them was
depth
in
with you,
green.
and it's going to
Well,
be.
those Clipper tanks
If
had
you
a
guys have ever heard of
manufacturing
100 days
defect,
on shape,
and they had several of them blow up at events. They got just
and then
normal
for the health
120
center, so that's
psi
any questions you
pressure.
may have.
So those
A
tanks
lot of
became
FAQs in there.
illegal.
Then on the very
3 years
right-hand side, we
ago
have your
at
account.
GKC, we actually
So
found a robot that had one of those
any
tanks
account
on
settings
it.
you may have,
And
also
so
dark
Andy and
mode.
I
So if
immediately
you ever
took
want
it
to
over to our shop and drilled a hole
switch
in
over
it,
at all,
and we just gave the team a brand new one that we had of ours, and said, look, just keep it, because there's too much danger those tanks might explode. The other thing about pneumatics is treat everything as sacred. Don't paint the tanks.
and then on the left side here,
stickers
we
on
have our
them.
create button.
Don't modify
That's our
the
most important button on the
solenoids.
screen.
Everything kind of has to
That's how we
work
create our
as
documents.
it was.
And any other thing we had to
Final
want to do.
wrap
So
up
if I
I
open it
had
up
for
here,
you all, and then
document
we'll
folder,
open it up to
maybe
questions
import
and answers. Hopefully
or
you
label.
picked up on this through
And
my
then below
talk
that we
here
have
this morning.
what we have here.
We're
is
not
our
there to keep you from playing.
other
It's quite the opposite.
documents we have, other folders.
Inspectors are there to help
just
you
filters for that.
have a safe,
So you guys shouldn't have anything in here
well-operating
yet unless you've
robot
already
that
used
competes
Onshape.
fairly with all the others.
And then
the
farther
example
down in
I
public,
like to cite, does
this
anybody
is
know,
the full world
no adults
Onshape.
on this one,
So any
does
other
anybody know
random
what
CAD
it
that's
costs
online,
to go to your first region?
the trash is
How
anything
much
you put in there.
does first charge for your first regional?
Then on the main
Anybody?
screen here, we have
Yeah.
more up here.
Try
Is more
doubling
than
that.
Onshape learning stuff.
$6,000
And below that is our recently opened and any other
for your
projects you may
first
have.
regional.
But
Okay.
you guys shouldn't have any
Let's
down
say
here
that
because we shouldn't have created anything yet.
if you're at an event where you get to play 10 matches, 10 qualifying matches,
So
how
we are
much
going
does that
to
break down to per match?
first create a project. So I'm going to push this big blue
$600.
button up here.
So as an inspector,
I'm gonna click
if
on
we can
document.
help you and your teammates find
then I'm
things
gonna
that
name
might
it-
have made your robot die
Let's
on the
just
field
do massive
and
mini.
help you fix it in advance, that's what we're most
CAD.
trying to do, is make sure your robot's going to work well for you, compete fairly. If we tell you something's wrong, it's not that we're trying to be mean or prevent you from playing and competing against your teammates and the other teams that are there.
So it should open you guys
We're
up
trying
to
to make
this
sure
screen right
that
here.
you don't lose
Is
$600
everybody here?
on a match because your
Yep.
robot died because you had a loose
All right.
wire somewhere, or you had an
Now,
illegal component
Going
and
through
it
this
got
screen real
hot
quick,
and quit working.
we have our left
So-
panel. I'm going to go to the very far left.
That's
We
all I
have
got this morning. Anything else? For
Number one,
you,
our
Chief?
versions in history. So this is going to be if you make any changes later on, it's going to show up here.
Sure.
And then create a version. You can imagine versions as more of thinking of Iron Man suits like the Mark 1, Mark 2, that way. But it's really more of a snapshot of your entire document. So if I quickly go back, I'm sorry, I'm signed out here. But if I go back to my full robot from last year, I can show you guys. We use versions to have different parts of a robot. So if you ever make a new change, it's pretty big. We make versions to go through, so you can just go back to them if you want to.
Because they said they were too heavy, right?
Then we have comments. So if you guys ever maybe need to
The blue
leave
and
someone a
the
note at all, we haven't really used this on our team at all. Usually we're in person and we have our own document for CAD if we need to make anything. But it's just helpful that it's there.
so they
And
did an
document
average.
notes. Kind of like that
Huh.
communication or the
Oh
comment
yeah, so
part.
that's totally wrong.
We don't really use it fully, but it's always nice to have there. In performance, so sometimes Onshape will give you an error or two that your document's not loading fast enough. And if you ever have problems with that at all,
Is
the
illegal
performance
too.
tab here will tell you
Yeah.
what's going on. And then AI Advisor. So it's pretty new. It's actually beta. It's up here.
Right. So
You can, it's ChatGPT, but for
Yeah.
Onshape. So if you have any questions at all, here I'll demo.
right, right.
I'll follow there.
So
How do I
That's a very good point. When you're at an
create
event,
a, let's just, a sketch?
the LRI
Which we'll
is
get
the
into
lead
later.
inspector. The FTA, the field technical
Regular
advisor,
AI,
is
so I'm gonna give it a
actually
prompt,
the highest
and I'll give
in
you back
command at any given
an answer.
regional. If you went
Then
to
your
the
action
LRI and
items.
say, I
So-
disagree with you,
If you guys have
can
ever
I
used a
take
con
this
board
up
before,
with the FTA? That would be the
it's
way I
basically
do it.
one of
Be
these for Onshape,
respectful. Don't,
but I
you know,
recommend
don't
staying
just
away from it
blindly go
because
to the FTA and say,
number
hey,
one,
the
if you
LRI
guys
is
have a
doing
free education
this.
account, you can't
Because
make one.
their
and make
initial
an action item.
reaction is going to be
And number
to
two,
decide. But
we
the LRI should
in the
have
past would rather use a
escalated that
an
to,
IRL con board.
you know,
So just
national,
easier in that way.
either to Big Al or to Chuck, and said, hey,
Now,
you know, we've got a
moving on,
team
here's the bottom
questioning
panel.
on this.
This part down here.
Our ruling is this, because
So,
you have an appeals
number one,
process as
big
a
plus
team.
icon.
Again, I like the
That's
way
how
you
you
put
create
that. You want
other
to do it
parts, other maybe
respectfully.
assemblies, and then
You did it with the rule book open.
any
But
other
at
tab
an
group at all.
event, the actual
Down
ultimate
here, on this
decision
bottom
maker
area,
is the FTA. They're in
is the
charge of the
full.
regional.
You'll see all your part studios, all your assemblies over here. So these are the actual parts and etc. And you can click on them just to switch around.
Yeah.
Moving on to the top panel. So 3-hammer line here.
Yes. Yeah.
It has a lot of stuff in it. You can rename your document in here. You can move your document. But big thing here is work shape or workspace units. So you can go through here and change if you'd rather have metric or inches. And then the big name right here of your document, if you click on it, you can change it if you need to. So maybe if I wanted to put intro to CAD now.
You absolutely.
So
It's okay.
and then moreover, document URL, copy it, paste it later on. And everything over here on the right side is the same, except for the share icon. So if you want to share your document with other people, like other parts of your team, you click on this, and then you would just type out their email. So someone on our team, Lacey Pikey, share that, send it over. All right. Okay. Now on the top panel here, we have all of our tools right below. Number one is our undo and a redo, regular undo, redo. Then we have our sketch, which is more of the drawing. And we're going to go further into this later on, but that's more of our 2D drawing out simple shapes. And then the rest of the stuff over here is all our 3D tools. Then in the very center here, we have our center work area. So that's where your part or assembly will actually be. And included in this, you guys actually can't see it. It got cut off on your document, on your handout. But on the right-hand side here, you'll see a few other parts. And most notably, you'll see this big blue MK. So that will be your MK CAD library when it loads. All right. And then on this closer left-hand side, what's up? Okay.
Whenever you guys first open up Mini CAD, it's gonna like have a little pop-up. You're gonna want to scroll all the way down on it and then say approve application. Authorize. Yeah, that's
Yeah, okay. When you guys open up MKCAD for use online too, you're going to see a authorized notation below. Authorized button, just push that and it'll be all good. Okay. All right, guys, moving forward. You'll see on the left-hand side here again, not the far one, but the very closer side, you'll see your features and parts. So your feature will be a sketch or a 3D change on a part. So make one quickly, you'll see here, that's going to pop up. And then parts, if I had a part in here, that's going to pop up right down there. You'll see that later on. And a part is a collection of features, so I may have 25 features in here, but it could all be one part. And it's a fully enclosed piece. And you can also have multiple parts in a part studio. So this is where you would find them.
Can you ungroup those parts?
Yeah, you can. All right. Now I'm going to talk about a little bit of organization. Number one, a big thing to do here, when you make a sketch or you make a lot of parts down here, or assemblies, number one, rename. So maybe I want to rename my part here to be Mini Part 1. And I did that by right-clicking on it and then renaming. And you can also create folders in this bottom create section right here. So maybe put a create folder here, Massive Mini, just do folder. So then I can drag my parts and my assemblies into the folder. I'll pop up that blue, and then it'll put them all in that folder, which I can click on, and it will hold all my parts. So you can also make folders inside of part studios and inside of assemblies, which are very important for organization. I'd recommend renaming your sketches and renaming your extrusions and other 3D models, so you're not trying to go back through and change one part. And for example here, I'm going to go to our old robot from last year. And I just want to show one of our parts here eventually. So we've been pretty bad about this in our past, especially in build season where, I mean, stuff gets hectic and we don't really have the time to fully go through and organize everything, but it's a nice thing to go through and do as you go along, because when you're trying to go through and find which sketches for what, it gets a little annoying. Yeah. And also, if you have a ton of parts that are just labeled Part Studio 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're trying to go back through and find them, it makes it really hard for a 3D printer, for a machinist too, to find them. And it's harder for everyone that you're working on the project with, your other CADers. So I would recommend using organization all the time. So I'm going to go back really quickly here to our actual document and go over quickly UI. So if you guys have a mouse, which I have here, I'd recommend using one. It makes life way better. Using the trackpad is pretty annoying. Pretty bad. You control your mouse and control your screen here. Number one, holding right mouse down, your right click, is going to rotate. Holding your scroll wheel down is going to pan Then scrolling the scroll wheel is going to zoom. Yeah. And then, yeah, okay. So use 2 fingers for you guys online and trackpad users to rotate. Then control and 2 fingers is going to be pan. And then 2 fingers up and down is going to be your zoom in and zoom out. Control and 2 fingers, again, is your pan. Zoom in and zoom out is going to be your trackpad. Scrolling up and down 2 fingers. And then rotate is 2 fingers and then just all over. Okay. Now onto the view cube. So you guys might have seen me use a view cube up here, the top right corner. And it's very helpful. I use it even with the mouse. So number 1, your arrows, the straight up and down and the curved ones here, are going to be your rotate. So arrows are rotate. Then clicking on a face, let's say front here, is going to take me directly to that face when you're facing directly at it. And then on the corners here, let's see it turns blue. If I click on one of those, it's going to be an isometric view. And then if I'm back on a face and I click that outline, it's just going to do a flip. So one more time, clicking on a face will take you directly to that face in front of it. The corners will be the isometric view. And then the outline is going to be flip. And then all the arrows will rotate. And also, really note, if you're 1,000 miles away accidentally somehow, if you click back on that view cube, it's always going to take you back to that main view. Which is very helpful. All right. Now we will move on to creation. Starting off here, I'm going to click my sketch icon, because you cannot have any 3D part at all or 3D tool without a sketch. So I'm going to click on my sketch icon. Then I'm going to choose a plane here. I'm going to choose my front plane, just for me. And then you see here, it makes it easier if you're directly in line with the plane that you're working on. So I just went to my front plane. Because trying to work on a sketch while you're above it's going to be really weird. You can see it's not doing anything. Now it is. So number 1 here, the shapes. We have a line. We have a square, a rectangle. We have a circle or an ellipse. Drop down here the ellipse. Then I have an arc. Then I have an inscribed polygon, which will be an irregular shape, regular polygon. Then I have a spline, which is a series of points, which you would click down, and that's going to make a curve. And then I have my point. So to create a shape here, I'll do my line. I'm going to select my shape or select my tool. I'm going to left click down where I want my first point to be. and then left click again, my next point. And then you might see this dimension right here. So you can change that dimension by hovering over it and typing a number in. Don't actually click down, just hover over and click a number. Type in a number. So maybe I want 2 inches right for this part right here. So now that dimensions my line to be 2 inches. I can do the same with a rectangle right now. So first point, second point, I'm going to hover over, 2 inches again, hover over, 1 inch, done.
How do I select something to just delete it?
You can either left click and then delete.
No, because when you're like trying to fill in all the part. Okay, yeah.
And then to delete a dimension or change it, I can double click on my dimension. Or if I want to delete it, I can right click on and delete. Or I can select it and then just delete it as so with my delete key. Can you guys hear me back there, by the way? Am I loud enough for you guys? Yeah. All right. And then part of sketch 2, you can move around a shape by selecting it and moving it up and down here with your mouse. Let's see here. So and it automatically constrained my rectangle here. So it's not moving freely, but here's what it would be like if my dimensions were fully there and it wasn't constrained at all. Move around. Is everybody with me so far? Everybody there? So for my other tools right now, I'm going to create just a square. Yeah, this is for moving forward. Everybody still with me? Okay. Okay. So moving on. What's going to happen here is we're going to go over the tool section. So let's say I already have my shape, my square, and I want to round the edges of it. I'm going to choose my fillet, round it out here. I'm going to choose the dimension of my radius. So let's make it just 0.15. And that fillet is going to round out that corner. And then if I use the drop-down menu right here on the fillet, you're going to see chamfer. Chamfer is the exact same idea, but instead it's going to be a non-rounded corner. It's a chopped off one. Then the trim, cut, and extend tools, and split too. So my trim, let's say that I have just maybe a line here. A line I accidentally put down. I don't want this line here at all. I just want my square. what I'm going to do is select the trim, and it will let me take away that part, that line. Or let's say that I only want one part of my square. I don't want all 4 sides, I only want one. I can take out one of the sides by using the trim tool. Then the extend tool, if I want to maybe I have another line over here. And you guys don't have to follow along fully with this one. This is just an explanation of the tools. So if I have a line over here and I need my square to connect to this other line, I can click that extension tool, click on my line, and bring it over. The extension tool is under this drop-down menu. All right. Then the offset tool now. So let's say that I maybe I need my square, then maybe I need an inlaid square inside of it, just a little bit smaller. What I can do is I can select my square, all sides of it, with the offset tool. And I can choose between either making it bigger or making it smaller. And then let's say I don't want 0.25 in. Let's say I want 0.15. Put the dimension in. Then you can see here it's telling me that left click will be my confirm. So again, the offset tool to the right of the extension tool right here. Right here. And if you guys don't know the names of the tools, there should be a page of that in your packet, but also you can hover over and it will tell you the different tools, their names. And if you, I can, yeah, I can put them online. And then on that offset tool, in any tool actually, if you are wondering what they do, hover over for a longer period of time, and it will give you a detailed explanation of them. It's offset. Okay. Now on to the mirror tool. Mirror tool right here, to the right of the offset tool. So, number one, if you select the mirror tool, you'll see it's going to ask you to select a mirror line. Now, what it's looking for is a straight line or axis that you can choose as your axis of rotation or flipping. So let's say here that I want to flip my square to the other side. I want to have square right here and one to the right of this line. What I'm going to do is first select my axis. So I want to have this line right here on the very far right. Then I want to select my entities to be mirrored. So my entities here that I want to be mirrored are going to be my other sides of my square. And it's going to fill that out. One more time, mirror tool. It wants you to select a axis of rotation or flipping. And then it'll ask you to select all your entities that you want to be mirrored. So again, going back through, that'll be my other sides of my square. Okay. So
Yours went to the right, mine went up.
if you choose, it chooses on. So when you choose a mirror line, it also will choose which way you go. So if I choose my top part of my square here for my mirror line, and then I choose or here. When you first use it, it's going to be, again, that mirror line is going to be the point where or the axis which you flip around. So I'll make a better example up here. If I have a square, and a square right here, and I want to flip it to the other side of the y-axis right here, I'm going to click my mirror line, or my mirror tool, click my mirror line, which is my y-axis, and then select all of my square. And if I want to change the direction, maybe I want to flip it to the other side of the x-axis here, I'm going to select my x-axis as the mirror line, and then select my square. And the mirror line can be anything. So maybe I want a really weird mirror. I want one that's going to be not just up and down, left to right, not horizontal or vertical. Maybe I want it to be at a 45-degree angle here. So I'd make my line, and then now I can do the same thing. Select my mirror line here, select my squares, and then I'll flip it. Everybody still with me? So for you guys online too, someone asked about flipping or how I made that line have that 45-degree angle. If you have two lines that are not parallel, you can dimension them to each other, and that'll give you the option for rotation. So if I have a line that's parallel to my y-axis right now, and I try to dimension it, it's going to be strictly that dimension. But if I have a line that's not parallel, it'll give me the ability for rotation. That also lets you make it so that it's parallel, and then you can actually dimension it normally. Oh, that's being mean. So that right there. Okay. All right. And then moving forward right now, what's up? I am. Moving forward here to the pattern tool. So if I have, let's say that we're making regular 2x1, and I have about 100 holes I need to put down. I'm not going to put them down one by one, hand by hand. I'd rather use my linear pattern tool. So what I'm going to do, select my pattern tool. Number one, linear. That's just going to be vertical and horizontal. Circular will be around a point. And then transform is going to move my shape. Give me one moment here. So the linear pattern, I'm going to select my shape that I want to be mirrored. And it's going to give me a lot of options here. Number one, it's going to give me directions of my linear pattern. So right now it has 1 times of my shape. And again, not again, sorry, but in general, you can't have 0 because you can't have no shape to be patterned. You have to at least have 1. Let's say I want 3 right here. I also want 3. I want a square of squares. Now, these dimensions that they have in here are actually the distance between,
and it's going to be
each
very hard
shape.
to
So-
put bolts in there
so I want to
sometimes.
be
So
2 inches.
at a competition, maybe
It's going to move my
a bolt shears or
my
bolt
shapes to
backs
be 2
out,
inches apart.
making sure that you can put a wrench in there and
Then
being able to tighten bolts
side as well.
is very crucial.
Oh, sorry about that.
Not going crazy with pockets.
Wrong one.
A couple of years ago, we had this big old telescoping arm,
Back to that.
and we went way too much of the pocket. So the tube was so, the structural integrity of the tube was so stripped away that we were able to bend the tube inward, which is not something you want with a long 6-foot telescoping arm.
So I know I chose a weird example.
And then
because I have a
having
square that's
multiple
1
sets
by
of
1,
eyes on a
and
design.
that's what it's worked out as.
So
but
that would mean
if you are changing your shape
either, say you have
accidentally,
an
that means you're on the wrong
underclassman
dimension.
developing an intake,
So if I change
or
my
an
square
arm,
right here,
having an
it'd be 2.
upperclassman coming and looking at the
It's gonna
design,
change my square,
guiding them through the
not
process, or
my
having one of your friends come
pattern.
over and say, does this look right? Is this actually going to turn out okay? Or going to a mentor saying, do you have any feedback on
and
my
then
design?
to select or confirm that you
And I don't have
okay
this
with your
on there, but
pattern
also
here,
going to teams
with the big
during competitions and
left
saying,
click.
can I have your CAD? Not every team posts their CAD, but most teams have a CAD. So being able to draw from those other designs. So maybe next year you saw, or this last year you saw a team with a really cool end effector. And next year's game has a very similar game
Okay.
piece, and you want to draw from that design. If you have that CAD, you're able to do that.
So I'm going to quickly
And then
make
fabrication
any sketch
of a
real quick.
robot.
You guys don't have to follow along at all,
I already mentioned this earlier, but buying an off-the-shelf item
but I
is
want to show
10 times better than manufacturing
the
yourself.
regular.
It's going to come out a lot better. It's going to be more sturdy, and there's a reason they sell it off the shelf, and there's a reason they're so expensive because they're so nice.
Just follow along, or don't follow along. Just watch ahead.
Tolerances. We also
Okay,
had a
we're hitting
big
a point.
problem with this
Okay.
this year. So our elevator,
Okay.
we decided we want to make our own bearing blocks for our elevator
Yeah,
this
there
year,
you go.
and we wanted our
Here, I'm
elevator
gonna stop
to
for a moment,
stow
guys. I'm gonna let
completely flush at the top.
Aubrey, Hunter, and Liam get you guys all caught up.
And we wanted the spaces, the gaps between each stage to be so minuscule. It's actually negative gap between each stage. But making sure you have those
just linear pattern.
tolerances is crucial. Our belt ran between the stages, and if we had issues with our belt, say our belt was getting torn, we can't see our belt. I mentioned this earlier, but making sure you have space to screw in bolts, 4 rivet heads.
And then again,
so
the
they're not
arrows right
rubbing.
here.
Our elevator,
for
every time we
directions.
went up and
So I
down,
flip them
created
around
a
here.
ton of metal shavings. It was like the inside of a snow globe every time we ran it.
Yep.
And it should, having metal shavings come out of your robot every match is not good. Oh, and then I mentioned
So,
bearings. So
if you
a
also
couple
do
years
want to
ago,
move
we
around
had
your pattern at all,
these gearboxes
you
cut
can.
out, and
like
our
holding down on
bearings
that square,
were too
and
tight
you
to
can
fit
move
in
it
the
around.
holes. So we
It'll
had a
let you
couple
change
teammates
both
who thought it was
the
a good
dimension
idea
of how
to
far apart
hammer the bearings
your
into the
shapes are,
plates.
and also
Now,
the direction.
when you do that, your bearings don't tend to spin as well. So I don't
To
recommend
change the
hammering your bearings
direction,
into
I
the plates.
held down on the square right here.
Either taking
This
a bigger
right
bit
here.
to drill out those
So your arrow,
holes,
and right behind
or
that arrow,
running it back
you're
through the
gonna see
machine again, upping your
square.
tolerances.
Hold down on that. Move
That's
it
big
around.
in CAD also, making sure your tolerances are right. A couple years ago, we also had some gearboxes that didn't have that 3 thou tolerance that you need between every gear,
Yes, you can.
and our gears came out really
Here.
pointy.
So you guys
Using
don't
the
mind
right
if I brought
tool
it
for
up?
the job.
If I move
So
around my
this goes to
pattern here,
some Max
let it
Composite. We
beep.
got some Max Composite this
then
last year. I brought some,
change the angle of that.
if we want to look at that later. They recommend you lasering it out, but we don't. We decided we wanted to CNC it instead, and the material came
we'll
out
go over
really
constraints here in a
rough.
moment,
And
but
there's a reason they
yeah, that's the one
want
annoying
you to
part
laser
about this is that
It's
once you go off
to
axis,
be
you can't really get it back on
cut
without a
properly
constraint
to
later
have
on.
the
So
best result.
after that point, what I've usually done in the past, if I accidentally click that, I'll either restart that linear pattern or
Using your
do
sponsors. So in
is
your
I'll just
area,
dimension it.
reaching out to any sponsors that have big industrial machines, any CNC
So,
routers, because
right there.
sometimes they have like 5-axis mills that you might not have
Make this
access
3,
to, or you don't have
and then
the
I'll
budget to have. And
make
even if
this
you
0
have a
degrees.
CNC, maybe they have a nicer
Making it
CNC.
parallel
They'll
again.
have nicer products, nicer finishes, nicer tolerances,
And that's what,
smaller bits.
more in depth here,
Or
you're
reaching
gonna
out
see this
to other
dotted
local
line
FRC teams.
when you do make
I think
your
we
linear
reached out
pattern,
to Team Scream a couple
and
years
that
ago
controls
to
the
I think these are
rotation
their
of
bending
your
brake.
pattern And it also controls
Their mill.
how
their
far
5
apart your
axis.
shapes are. This line right here. Yeah.
So kind of going more in depth, there are specific definitions that you should be using in your first impact and even in your pit presenting. Your impact judges are going to know what these mean. Some of your pit judges are going to know. It's going to depend on how much they've been involved in first. But there are specific words and definitions, thinking around the lines of like, are you running events? Are you hosting events? It's all listed out on First website, and that's what's underlined is a link to it. I believe they're sending out these presentations, so you'll be able to just go directly to it. But you can also just like Google
And then
First
quickly,
impact
I'm just
definitions,
going to talk about
and
this
you
for
should
one
be able to
moment here.
find it.
So if you guys
And
have a
likewise, there's
DXF or a
also, when you
DWG
go into the
drawing from
room,
another CAD
you can
program,
take
you want to insert that
documentation
in.
with you to hand to the
Put
judges.
this right here.
Essentially, this is like proving
Just
what
put that
you
bad
said
boy
that
in.
you did. So this could
And
be
then
pictures. This could be emails from
fully moving
whoever you
forward
were
here,
helping, thanking you.
I'll do the full
It could
dimension
be
tool.
thank you notes, anything
So
like that. They have a
the dimension
suggested
tool is, you've already kind of
documentation
gone over
form
a
now.
lot, but
You don't have to
it's
use this
used in
one
every
that
part.
they have, but it's
When you make a part
a
or make a
simple
sketch,
that then it can be uniformed for your impact
so it
judges.
controls
Also linked out there.
all
But
dimensions
it's not
of the
required.
shape.
You don't have to, but I highly suggest that you do. Okay. Impact is open. I don't
So,
know if anyone realizes
again,
this,
your
but it
dimension
opened
tool can
October
do
30th. So you can start working on your
distance, and it
essay
can also
and your
do
executive summary now.
rotation.
I highly suggest that you do, because we all know that once you hit competition season, everybody's running around like chickens with their heads cut off. And depending on how big your team is, you need more time to work on things. So they are open now. So you're required. You have your executive summary, your essay, and then your presentation at the time of the event. Optional is the video.
I will say
the
the dimension tool is
documentation.
probably the most important tool
Technically,
up
the
here,
video is not supposed to be included
besides
in judging.
creating a shape.
However, I have heard impact judges
Because we're
say
going to talk
that
about the
if they have
constraints later
two
on in one
teams
moment.
who are
But
like
constraints
equal
all
neck and
follow
neck, they
the
will
rule of the
review
dimension
videos
tool. So
as a final
the dimension
tiebreaker.
is the most basic one,
So
and it's very helpful.
I always suggest, it says optional, but I suggest you do it. And open, and then the due dates are also listed on here. For the ones that are submitted part,
Is there any
it's
questions
in
from the online people?
February
No?
12th, 3 p.m. Eastern. Always put things in Eastern
Being
time.
weird, should I?
And then
Is there?
your presentation, your video, and your documentation have to be completed
Oh, okay. So
by the time you present
okay.
it. However, you have to provide a link to wherever your video will be, like a
Is everyone in the back
Google-
with me? Right. Yep. And then
folder is also due at that same time as your essay and executive summary. So the video doesn't have to be done at that
you guys
point.
up here, you guys
but
good?
you do have to have a
Back
link
there?
to where
All
that
good?
video
Yeah.
will exist. Okay. Now kind of a breakdown comparing your team attribute awards to your impact award. Your team attribute awards, it's very informal.
Liam,
it's
am I good to keep going?
conversation based. This is in your pit. It's loud. Machines are running.
You're fine.
People are talking loud. You know,
You're all good.
there's a lot going on.
I want to make sure I'm not
So
leaving
it's
you
much more
behind.
informal,
So.
conversation based.
All right.
Several awards. The judges that come around there,
Now
they're
on to
looking
constraints
for
right
all
here.
of those
So this entire
team
section,
attribute awards that she
past the
covered,
dimension tool,
as well as you'll
is
have
all
your
constraints.
robot award judges coming around as well. There's not a set schedule. You have no idea when they're going to show up.
If I
They could
quickly
show up
make
at any
a
moment. Sometimes they like to freak you out and really try to
shape
mess with
here,
you. Not saying they did that.
a rectangle,
Yes, they do.
and
All teams will see judges. Don't say that they won't. They will.
One moment.
All teams will talk to judges.
number one,
So everybody that comes to a competition, they're going to get pit
Okay.
judges.
everybody will
Doesn't
see
matter
that
if they really want to apply for
it
any
is
of them or
very
not, but
blue.
everybody's going to talk to judges.
All my lines are blue on this
And
square.
then pit awards are given out
Now what
on
this means is that
various
my
letters
sketch
showing
is not
whatever.
fully constrained. That means it can
And
move
all the
around
pit judges deliberate together.
like so.
So after they
I
go
can
out,
move it.
because you're not going to talk to all the pit judges.
Now,
There's way too many teams.
For
for them to
most
talk
parts, you don't
for
want to
every
have
single pit judge to talk
any
to
blue
everybody.
lines.
So after
Because
they go
if
out
you
and they
change
talk to
one
their list of
dimension,
teams, they're going to get back
then it could
together
change
and
the
they're going to
entirety
deliberate.
of the other
And
ones.
who knows what goes on in that room.
Because if you
But they're all
don't
going to
have
decide
parts that
together
are fully
on who
constrained,
they're going to give these awards to
then
over 2 or 3 rounds
those sketches
of
can
judging.
be changed fully. They have other
Your impact,
degrees of freedom,
on the other hand,
as
it's
you would
very
say.
formal. It's in a quiet room. It will
So,
just be your presenters and 2, 3
Let's say here
judges.
that I want my square to be at the origin.
It's one award.
What I can
Everybody that
do-
goes in is competing for one award. Same criteria, You all know what you're going for.
is use my coincident tool here.
You do get a
which-
specific time. You will know
I'll talk a little
day
bit more about
before
most of these,
what
but
time you're going to be presenting.
coincident,
So you'll have
that
time
is,
to go, okay, we're
it
presenting
puts
at
2
3
points
o'clock.
together. So if I have
So
this point right here,
our
my
team
top of my
does is
square,
about 2.
then I have the
Our
origin.
impact presenters will go off.
I can click
they
on those
get
two,
ready, changed.
and it will make
and
sure
then
that
we
those
run
2
through it a
points are
couple
now
times.
connected.
We find a quiet space. We let them,
I can also use my
decompress,
coincident tool
give it once, and then
with a line.
ready to go.
So let's say that I want my line here
Not
to
all
be on the
teams have to
origin,
compete.
top part of my
This
square.
is one that you have to
Click on my top
sign up
part
ahead of
of my
time,
square.
get your
Then I'm gonna click
materials
on the
submitted.
origin
So
again.
it's not a requirement for everybody. So
It's
I
gonna make
think
sure that even though it can
typically
move
the last few
around,
years, it's been between
that point is always gonna
10
be
to
there.
15 being really high.
You can
for
also
the
see
amount
how,
of,
without
competed
constraints
around.
there, it moves around fully.
These judges, your impact judges,
Which is why it's
will
so
not
important
talk
to
to
actually
any of
have
the
your
pit
parts
judges.
fully
They
constrained.
will make their
your schedule's
decision.
fully constrained too.
The 3 or 4 that are in that room, they'll sit down, they'll listen to everybody, they'll have read your essay, they'll have read
So
the executive
then
summary.
the coincentric tool. Sorry. So if I have two, so yeah, okay.
Where you are is correct. You don't want to because then it's trying to move everything at once. And then go to the flip it once, and now flip a side or a corner. And I think go to your origin.
Good. Okay. So the concentric tool here, if I have 2 circles, what that's going to do is it's going to keep the center of both circles on top of each other. So one more time here. The concentric tool keeps the centers of 2 circles together. And then the parallel tool here will keep 2 lines parallel. So pretty intuitive. And I'm not going to fully go over the other ones here, but most of these are pretty good to understand. Horizontal keeps your line perfectly flat with the x-axis here. The vertical will keep it with the y-axis. Perpendicular, equal, the midpoint. So pass here gets a little bit more in-depth, but again, if you have any questions or don't know fully about this, what you can do is you can hover over and it will give you a more in-depth version or description of that constraint. But more about constraints, you'll see here that if I hover over a line, or if I select it, I have a bunch of constraints pop up. So what that is that it's telling me which constraints I have, and it's highlighting where they are and what they're applied to. So let's say that I need to get rid of a constraint. Maybe I accidentally put something on and I don't want that. I can either undo, or I can also delete that constraint. You can delete a constraint by hovering over it, selecting it, and deleting it. Is everybody with me? Here's what they're kept. All right. Liam, do you need a minute? You good? Okay. All right. Now, quickly going to talk about selecting more than one line or shape. So you can select shapes or entities by just hovering over and clicking on them. But you can also select more than one entity or more than one dimension or constraint by shift clicking. And just holding shift down and clicking on all the entities that you want to select on. So then again, going over one more time, you can then delete entities by doing backspace on it. And then one more thing we can do is right click will give you plenty more options. So if maybe I can change the dimension here, what I can do is I can double click on the dimension and change it, or I can right click on it and it'll give me more options. So right clicking will give you more options for about almost anything here. So I can maybe rename the sketch here, click on it, right click, rename. And I will tell you guys whenever we need to do that later on. The final note when ending a sketch here, make sure to click the green button or it won't save your changes to it and it won't save it at all. So if you see here that I did not click the green check mark and now it's popping up with an older sketch version and it has a big blue part up here that says restore. So if you maybe accidentally exit out too early or didn't mean to, you can push that button to restore and it'll actually take it back to the last edit you made. Pretty helpful. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to my 1x1 square just for a moment here. And I'm going to exit out of my sketch with that. So now I have my square. And I'm outside the sketch region, or outside the sketch. And I'm on the main project screen here with all the 3 tools above. And also, if you want to edit a sketch, what you do is you double click or right click edit. Trackpad, that's going to be control click. Any trackpad people in here, if you want to do right click, you control click. True. Or you can also do 2-finger click. Okay. Now I'm on my main screen here, my square on my front plane. Here. I'm outside the sketch zone, or sketch screen. So now I want to go up to this big extrude button up here. Extrusion is the most basic 3D modeling of Onshape and of CAD. And all it does is that it raises a sketch up by a certain height. Now, to use an extrusion, you can see here that it has 3 big areas right here. On my solid, on my surface, and then on my thin. Remember, before I get to that, I want to just select my faces or regions that I want to extrude. So I'm going to select my square. It's going to be highlighted. Now if I rotate, you see that it's now extruding up. Now, solid versus surface versus thin. So your solid is going to be the entire area of the sketch. Anything you select, and that's it, the inner area of that. Surface here is going to be a very thin line that is just the perimeter of your sketch or shape. Again, solid is the entire area. Surface is just the outer perimeter. And then thin is like surface, but instead you actually have thicknesses to your walls, which are below. But I'm going to go back to my main extrusion, my solid. Then you'll see here, right below that, I have new versus add versus remove versus intersect. New is going to be making a new part. You can see down here it's making a new part on the bottom left. Addition is adding to an already made part. So you can see here it's red because I don't have another part already made. So I have nothing to add to. Then remove, same idea, but it's going to take away from an already made part. So again, it's going to be red here because I don't have another part already made. And then intersect's a little tricky here, but what it is that it's going to take the extrusion. Here, actually, give me one moment here. I'm going to make an example part. So don't follow along, just watch on the screen. Okay. So now new, I've already had two parts here. You're going to see that it's just going to make another part. Add is instead going to add to my already pre-made part. Then remove is going to take away from already pre-made part.
So you don't have to select the other piece. Yeah. It just automatically removes it. Just touching.
Yep. You can choose though if you have multiple parts. You'll see down here below, and I'll go over this a little bit later, just in a moment, but the merge scope allows you to choose which parts you want to actually affect. So if I had, let's do, here, I'll make a quick example of another part. If I have another part in the same area, so new part right there, and I want to remove that merge scope is going to allow me to choose which parts I want to take away from. So if I do the blue, select that, it's only going to take away from that part. If I do from the gray one, it's going to do only from the gray part. But if I do merge with all, it's just going to take away from everything. And the intersect tool is almost like the opposite of the remove tool. What it does is it's going to take the extrusion is only going to happen on the parts where my extrusion are intersecting with other already made parts here. So you can see that it's only keeping the parts that are inside both my extrusion right now and from the other parts. And again, that merge, if I had only part 2 selected here, it's going to get rid of every part of that part 2 except for the part that's intersected. Okay, but I'm going to go back. I'm going to delete both of these actually. I'm just going to go back to that main extrusion real quick. Now, I want to look at the end types right now. You'll see here with the end types, number 1, you have blind. Blind is just going to give you a direct dimension to go to. If I have blind, it's going to ask me my depth. I'll just go 3 inches. It's going to go to that height. Up to next, though, is going to be swatch walling for a moment. If I have another moment. Give me one moment. Okay. So if I have another part above, here's what I'll do. And I want to choose up to next real quick. What's going to happen is that if I have a part that's going to intersect later on, my extrusion is just going to go all the way up until it hits that top part. So in like blind's just going to go up as much as I say it should. Up to next is going to go up to the next part. Then up to face, I'm going to choose maybe, let's use this part up here. I'm going to choose the next face of this part. And it's going to extrude all the way up to it. Then up to part, same idea. I'm going to select my next part that's in line. And it's going to extrude all the way up to that part. And then I'm going to skip over vertex and I'm going to go to through all. Through all is mostly used whenever you have a remove. So if you have maybe you just need to get rid of, you don't want to just put in, for remove tool, you don't want to put in like 100 inches, right? Doesn't point to that. Instead of putting in a blind with a depth of 100, instead I just do through all, and it would remove from everything in that line, in that way, from negative infinity to infinity. Everybody still with me? Okay. I'm going to pull up another tab real quick. I already have the few other additions on it, so sorry, Amber. Okay. Here's where I'm going to go over the other 3 tools that are above, up here. So, quickly here, I'm going to show this and then I'm going to show this for the online people. So I might show this to you guys and then have a quick break and let you guys kind of go walk around for a moment for about 2 minutes or 3 minutes real quick. So, okay. So for the revolve tool up here, to the right of the extrusion, a revolve, instead of like a normal extrusion, what it's going to do is that it's going to be a rotated extrusion instead of being a linear one. So, number 1 with the revolve here, what I'm going to do is again select my entities that I want to, or my sketch that I want to be revolved. You guys don't have to follow along, by the way. I'm just trying to show you guys this. You guys don't have to make this part yourself. So with revolve, again, choose that sketch. Then that revolve axis, just like the mirror, I'm going to choose the axis which I want to be, my sketch to be rotated around. So the moment I select that axis here, what's going to happen? It's going to go all the way around, revolve all the way through. Okay. Then to the loft tool. The loft you'll see here is on the to right of the revolve. What that's going to be here is the loft tool will take two sketches and connect them with a straight path. So you can just watch along. If I have my hexagon up here and my circle on the bottom, it's going to take a direct path from the first sketch, to the second sketch. And then to the sweep tool. So the sweep is basically an extrusion that follows a path here. So again, you guys don't have to follow along at all. Just watch quickly. So I'm going to choose a face that I want to be extruded or sweeped, and then I'm going to choose my path. So here it's going to be a little nut at me. So here's actually what I'll do. Sweep. Okay. So it's going to look a little crazy here. And what's happening is that it's just taking that original sketch and throwing it all the way around that sweep path. And again, I'll let people give me about a few minutes here, and then I will share this with our person. They can get you guys on it too. Okay. And then quickly I want to go over okay. What I'm going to do here, guys, is I think that I'm going to give you IRL people about a quick 5-minute break here. So I'm going to come back about 10:45 real quick. You guys can go to the bathroom if you want to, or just hang out for a 1 moment here. I'm going to get these online people all set up. Okay. I'm going to share that document with you. Does that work? You can't watch it? Okay. You're in now? Okay, sorry, online people. Quickly, I'm going to show you. If we click this revolve up here on the left, revolve up here. You should be able to edit it. I just want to do my own edit. Yeah, you can then if you want to. There you go. Okay. The revolve tool up here. It's that Shift W. About 5, so yeah. So revolve tool up here. Same idea as an extrusion. I'm going to click my base to be revolved. The big circle. I'm going to click my axis to be revolved around. That's my straight line up and down. You should see a big circle or sphere pop up. Okay. Then the sweep tool. Okay. For the sweep, what it's going to do again is the sweep tool is an extrusion that follows a path. So if I select my hexagon and I select my sweep path, you'll see it's going to follow that all the way through. Okay. And then the loft tool. So the loft tool, it takes two extrusions, or sorry, not extrusions, it takes two sketches, and it's going to connect them with the straight path, the straightest path possible. So if I have my lofts, I select my hexagon, or some my sphere, or my circle down here, you'll see it's going to take it and connect the two sketches in the best way possible. Okay. Then the thicken tool. So I'm going to quickly extrude my piece, my hexagon up here, as an example. So if I have my extrusion already made, I can use the thicken tool to increase the side out. It's an offset, but for 3D modeling. And that's where I'm going to stop there for one moment. So on people, you're good right now. What?
Is there a reason why they can't be changed?
Okay, IRL people, I want to ask, would you guys, so we already took a little bit too long on the beginning area, but would you guys rather me go through and have you guys make your own quick little SketchUp like this right here to go through and individually do it by yourself? Do you guys want me to guide you through making something like this so you can go through and test out the other extrusions or other 3D modeling tools yourself? I just have like a raise of hands for people that would rather have that. Go through and guide you guys through making a part instead of just following along or watching my screen, and how to make this so you guys can make your own revolve in your sleep in your lots. Okay, no, I got you. Okay, okay. So I demonstrated all the tools, but I'm going to go back to my path real quick, my main document, and I'm going to just go back through and I'm going to re-explain a little bit because I know I might have lost a few of you guys. So number one, before I even continue on, I deleted my extrusion so that I just have my square sketch again, just a square. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to jump all the way over to this plane tool. Now, the plane tool, quickly explaining it, it allows you to create a new plane which you can put a new sketch on. And we're going to be using it so that we can make two different sketches at individual heights or independent heights, so we can use that loft tool on it. If you guys want me to go back quickly, I use my plane tool here to raise that sketch up higher, so I have space in between to actually create a loft.
Can I say something real quick?
Yep.
If you zoom out just to here, if you look at his thing right here, the top, the front, and the side, those are all planes that are on the origin, that are centered on the origin. Creating a new plane is like creating a new face like this, and it'll operate the exact same, except if you offset it, put it somewhere else, that plane will be off of the origin and you can make it in line and everything with the origin, and the origin will always, if you have it visible, it'll always be visible. So if you're operating on that different plane that's like above, say, you can still like click on the origin and it'll make it in the center of the plane as long as the plane is also centered on the origin.
So for on people, we had someone point out how this top, front, and right plane all go through the origin. And when you make a new plane, it's just copying what these are. You can offset it and you can move it around how you want to. So I'm only going to use the offset tool because I only want to move it up a certain distance here. So I want to be, let's look here, my sketch plane. My sketch is on the front face. So I'm going to click my offset on that plane 1. So it's parallel to my original plane. You'll see it has that transparent plane right there, a little bit higher. I might make it about 3 inches so it's easier for me to see, but all it's doing is taking that plane and moving it up. And just so you guys can see better, you can actually hide the planes up here. So I'm going to hide my other planes except for those two. So now I have my sketch 2 right here, right? That's sketch 2 on my square, my front face. Now I'm going to make a new sketch on that new plane that I have. And what I want to do is maybe I'm going to make a loft with, let's say, just a circle. So I'm just going to make my quick circle here. I'm going to make it about 1 inch big. I'm going to be done with that. So is everyone here right now? Copy what I got. Again, circle is going to be up here on the left under that right here. Thank you. Sorry, can I get you all the way through? Sorry, can I get you all the way through?
No, it's no problem. I'll watch the thing online.
Yes, sir. There's a yes, sir. Some of this right here. Plane one. Like hold on. Aubrey Hunter, can you guys go help that sir right there? Okay. Is everybody else with me? You guys in the back, you guys with me? You guys closer to me in the far back, you guys with me? Yeah, you guys are here still working. Okay. I'm gonna keep going now. So now I have my circle and I have my square. Again, for that loft, what I'm gonna do, select my loft tool, select that square, select that circle, and it's gonna automatically make the loft between the two. Now if we go back to our sketch real quick and just put a line directly down the center of our circle. So now I'm here with my circle on the top that has that line circling down the middle. I saw that circle. Now the revolve tool again is an extrusion tool, but just rotate it around. So again, revolve, I'm going to choose that semicircle, that circle face. Then I'm going to choose that revolve, that axis, and it's going to send it all the way around. Again, that revolve, if I select the sketch I want to be rotated, the faces of that, and then I go down to my revolve axis and select the center, a center line. Again, it's going to put that all the way around. Okay. Okay. Now, I want to quickly talk about the hole tool, and then we'll move on. So if I originally had that square again, that original square, So the way the hole tool will work is you need a point to actually make a hole. So if I go back to my original sketch real quick, as sketch 2, and I just put a point down. Again, that point tool is up here. And I just make a point. What I can do is exit out of that sketch, select the hole tool, and then if your sketch is not showing, you can go to the right of it and unhide it. So again, I'm just pushing that eye icon and unhiding it. Then I'm going to select that point, and it's going to create a hole. Now on that hole tool, you can either choose metric or inch. Okay, so what it's going to do is it's going to create a hole automatically for whatever size of bolt you want to choose. And you can make it counterbore, countersink, whatever you need to be. So if you guys need to maybe have a 3D print that has to have a bolt inlaid, counterbored in, it's very helpful. So all you really have to do is choose your hole, choose your inch or metric, and then put in your drill size, your bolt size, and then just choose the depth you want to go through. Okay. That was a lot of tools though, but I think we should actually create something now. So I'm going to go down to my Insert New tab, that plus icon. I'm going to select Create Part Studio. I'm going to create a new part. So we are going to be making a 2x1. A regular aluminum 2x1. So I'm in my new part studio. Actually, before I keep going, are you guys all with me? Okay, yep. So here it is 2x1, and it will actually be a good review of all the parts we've already used, all the tools, stuff like that. I'm going to click on my sketch, my new part studio. I'll just use my front plane, and then I'm going to click on that square icon, that square tool, and I'm going to click on the origin so that it's constrained there. It won't move. Again, I'm going to hover over my dimensions, and I'm going to change them. So I'm going to make my vertical the long ways by 2 inches, and I'm going to make my horizontal the 1 inch. Now, if I just extruded this right now, it wouldn't be like a regular aluminum 2x1 because it has no inner area. It doesn't have an inner hole. So we will use the offset tool here. Remember, that is a grand piano looking tool on top here. Offset right here. And I'm going to select my square, my rectangle, all sides of it. And let's say that it's an eighth of an inch thick 2x1. So on that offset, I'm going to select 1/8 of an inch, put that in. And then again, I want to make sure that it's not going out, it's going in. So I can just flip the arrow if it's the wrong way. So now we should have something that looks about like this right here. Is everyone with me? Yeah. Now what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to click that green sketch mark, that green check mark on the right, on the sketch, so that it saves that sketch. And now I'm outside the sketch tool, and I'm in the main area. So I'm going to click on my extrude tool, and I'm going to make sure that I don't click both the interior and the exterior. I'm just going to click on the exterior rectangle. Now, I want to make my 2x1, I want it to be 29 inches long. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put in 29 on my depth. I'm going to choose blind because I just want to go to a certain depth, a certain dimension. And again, it'll extrude that all the way out. Everyone still with me? Everybody good? You guys good? Okay. Okay. Now I have my 2x1, but this is more of a stock. Our team, what we like to do is put a lot of holes down the line of our stock. So we're going to do the exact same here. I'm going to click on my sketch icon again, but instead of making my sketch onto a regular plane, I'm going to make it 29 inches. 29. Yeah, 29. Again, that extrusion is 29 inches long. But now I'm in my sketch plane again. I'm making that sketch. And instead of putting it on my front plane, my right plane, I'm going to put it on the side of the 2x1. So you can see that it is not on the normal plane. It is on the side of the 2x1. Now, I'm going to create one of my holes. I'm going to zoom in here, select my circle tool, and I'm going to create a circle. And again, I'm going to just dimension that by hovering over and putting that in, or you can select out of it and just deselect the dimension and put that, put in 3/16. So now I have my one hole, and you can see it's blue, so it's not constrained at all. So I am going to take my dimension tool. I'm going to dimension to the center of the hole, to the outer wall, and I'm going to take that up, and I'll make that 1/2 inch. Now same thing from the top side to the middle of the circle too. So top to the center, make that 0.5, and put that in. And now you can see that my circle is black, so it is now fully constrained. I can't move it around at all. But again, instead of just making 100 holes around this on this 2x1, instead I'm going to use my linear pattern tool. So I'm going to select my linear pattern tool again. Then I'm going to select the entity that I want to continue or pattern, and I want that to be my circle. So at this point, I'm going to, number one, I'm going to flip my top line down, because I don't want the circles to be going up. I want them to be going down on this one. I'm going to click this one time to make it 3. And then it's way too far apart. So instead, I'm going to make it 1/2 inch. Where y'all at? Do you have a charger? Pretty please. Like 9. Ta-da. Okay. It is. Yeesh. I'm guessing you guys that are in the middle back, you guys are already, you guys said that you were already advanced in CAD, right? So a little bit, yeah. I'm sorry about that. We're gonna get to more in-depth stuff, but most of it's going to be pretty just basic. Okay. Oh, I know. Oh, I know. I know the rule.
Was it lazy?
No, it was no, it was the old CAD guy. No, it was like his name was Riley.
No, the old CAD guy taught lazy because you both do it the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You guys offset to make your tubing, which I don't like.
Yes, we do.
It's more efficient than what I do, but I don't like it.
Thank you. Quite tough. Thank you. Okay. Is everybody good? Is it back to you? You guys up here? Okay. I'm gonna keep going now. So I have 3 holes down. You can see here that I have them going through the tubing, regular standard hole size for us. And now I want to wonder, I'm thinking about how many holes do I need to go down the length? Now, I can sit here and probably guess out, maybe do 100 and see where it ends, way too far away. Go back and forth, just putting in random amounts. But what you can do, and the general rule, is if you do 2 times your length, so 2 times 29, and then minus 1. So, again, one more time, that formula that I'm using here is 2 times your length. I'm using, by the way, for times, guys, you can either use parentheses or you can also just use the shift 8, the star, and then a minus 1. Yeah, that's not nice of me right there. So 2 times 29. That's gonna know what I mean. Never mind. You should be able to.
If you had created a variable for your length,
Yep.
then you could use a variable.
Hopefully, if we have enough time, I can go over variables, but I like using variables too, but yeah. Okay. Again, one more time for good luck. That formula that I'm using for the amount of holes I need down my length is 2 times my length minus 1. So for that's going to be 57 for 29 inches. And now I'm going to select that. I'm going to say that's good to go. I see it's pretty good. And it's going to fill that all the way out. Okay. Is everyone where I'm at right now? You guys on here? The diameter of the hole is going to be 3/16 inches. 3/16. So quickly, you'll see here. The diameter is 0.188, or this right here. So you can put in a I can't think of the word for it, but a division symbol and a division symbol, and it will work. So if I do that slash, it will work with that. So I don't have to put in the exact decimal. I can just put in 3 divided by 16. Yep. Middle. Can I ask you guys over here? For outline people, don't mind what I was saying. I just want to make sure. How much do you guys already know? I just want to see if I have anything to even give you guys. I want to, later on, if we have time, I was going to go over a variable table. I was also going to go over other parts of assemblies, stuff like that, but I'm guessing you guys probably already know most of that, right?
I don't really know that kind of stuff. I started using this like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So I know a lot of the basic stuff, but like stuff that I don't really know.
Okay.
So like I can create a shape and like extrude it and all that kind of stuff, but
Assemblies you're not really.
yeah.
Okay, okay, I'll be good then. We'll make sure we get to that. I just want to make sure. Thank you guys. Yep. It's 57, but it's 2 times your length minus 1. How's it working? Not at all. Okay. Hello, hello. Okay. All right. Am I gonna continue on? Hunter, how's it going over there? Okay. Liam, what you thinking?
Some holes, I don't have all of them.
Let me see real quick.
I'm not sure why it only made one row.
That's because you only had 1 time, so you need to make sure you have 3 times holes down the side. So.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. I know a few people are still trying to work through, but I'm gonna just continue on right now, just to keep moving a little bit. So now I have all my holes made on this right-hand side, this big side of the 2x1. What I'm gonna do is I'm now gonna extrude them out and remove them. So I'm gonna click my extrusion tool. I'm gonna click to remove now. But a tool you can use, instead of trying to go through and individually select every hole, which would take forever, what you can instead do is you can actually select your entire sketch. So instead of selecting every hole here, I'm actually just going to go through select my sketch with all my holes on it, and then it will automatically select all my holes. So I don't have to go through and do it one by one by one. Oh, are you trying to go through? Hold on. I got you. Okay. Here is the plan. You're all good. So instead of doing it, oh, did you? Oh, so you have 2 patterns right here. Is that what I'm saying? Okay. So instead, I'm going to actually just. Oh, okay. I'm just going to delete all these right here. Oh wait, you're in dimension tool. That's why. Okay. I'm just going to delete all these right here. And instead, what you can do is you can actually go back through and change your dimension or your pattern here. So again, that's the 2 times length. So 2 times 29 and minus 1. Oh, that does not work out for me. Yeah. I'm trying to type it out. So 2 times length minus 1 here is going to be 57. So that will allow you to go through. Is your original tubing not
Probably not. I just kind of.
You're all good. Okay. I mean, I'm guessing it's probably pretty hard to see over there. So instead, 1, 5. And what is going on here? Wait, what? Well, I'm gonna actually have someone come over here and help you out more. If I get back. Okay. That's pretty funny. Okay. Here.
The sketch just keeps going.
Ta-da. Okay. Pattern 2. Boom.
Yeah, I didn't know it.
Okay. So something to point out here. If you can make your life easier, I would do it. Instead of just making your extrusion here only one side, because it's symmetrical on the other side too, I'm just going to do through all. So then it goes to the other side, so I don't have to do 2 sketches and 2 extrusions. Simplifies my part. Okay. So now I have two sides of holes. I'm going to do the exact same thing as I did on this side for these holes as the top, except I'm going to make it only one line of holes. Hunter and Liam, do we need a minute? Okay. Are you guys still good back there? Just making sure. Second? Okay. So I'm selecting that top plane again of my piece, that top part of my piece, the 1 inch side of the 2x1. And now I'm going to do exactly what I did before, but only in one times row, only in one row. So I'm going to make my circle again. Make that again, that's going to be 3/16 of an inch, 3/16, or 0.188. And then I'm going to dimension it to be half an inch from the side. Okay, it's half an inch from the side. And then I'm also going to do half an inch from the top. Now, I saw a few people around here struggling with accidentally selecting the wrong dimension. So if you guys really want to, you can drag your dimension by the number and just throw it out. Just throw it out. Makes it way easier. Everybody still good? That's going to be 3/16 of an inch, 3 divided by 16, or 0.188 inch. Is it pretty hard for you guys to see the numbers back there? Yeah? Yeah. Let me see what I can do maybe.
Oh, are you having them read the side now?
Yep.
Put it in the middle. Side, and then you're going to do a linear pattern, but instead of having it 3/57, it's just going to be 1/57.
Is that bigger for you guys? Is that better? Yeah, you guys in the back? Is that better for you guys to see? Is it a little bit bigger? Okay. 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 Is everyone good? Okay. So again, I have that circle. I have it 3/16 of an inch big, or 0.18 inches. Then I have that half an inch from the top to the center of the circle, not to the outer edge, to the center. And then I have the same thing from the side. So it should be fully constrained here, and it is. It's black. So now again, I'm going to use that linear pattern tool. Select that circle. And then instead of making this 3 right here, I'm only going to make it 1. So I'm going to double click to change the dimension, make it 1 times. And then I'm going to make the longer dimension to be 57 again. I'm going to do the exact same thing as I did before, making the holes half inch apart. And that should be it. I think on my end here. Just double checking. Yep. So my holes are correctly placed there. So I'm good to go. So now again, I'm exiting that sketch. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing as I did before. I'm going to extrude. I'm going to remove through all. And I'm going to select that sketch, the entire sketch. Now I'm going to give it a minute here. I'm going to let everybody get helped a little bit, then we'll get back into it with assemblies. How's online doing? Thank you for being so into my presentation. I really appreciate you. We love you from 1764. Thank you very much. To Andy. Let's go, Big A.
We think you're the only person watching, Andy, so thank you very much.
I'm going to pick back up now with assemblies. Number one, before we move on, I'm going to rename my part here to be 2 by 1 by 29. Just for fun, just so I know. Getting that organization down. And then I already have an assembly created, but if I wanted to create a new assembly, maybe this one is gone, I don't actually have it, I would go back to that plus and then create an assembly. Now, on the assembly page here, there is number one, the insert tool. This is the most important tool of the assemblies besides the mates. It allows you to insert your actual parts you're going to use to create the assembly. And within the insert tool, you can choose from the current document. So in here, I only have these 2 parts. But I can also choose to insert from other documents. So maybe I need a part from another thing, another document entirely. So I can bring that in. Or I can use standard content. Standard content is very good for nuts and bolts. So we use this all the time for the bolts. Actually, you can see I already have my 1032 put in. So this is a very important tool to use. And I actually recommend that you always put in bolts inside of your assemblies to make sure that nothing is overlapping. So use the insert standard content. But today we're going to be using the current document, and I'm going to select my 2 by 1 by 29. So I'm going to place 2 in. And then I'm going to click that green check mark. That's just going to say that I'm good to go, that everything's good. If I didn't click that, then it would not put in any of the parts entirely. Okay. Now I have two parts that are free moving, that aren't constrained at all, and that, like how you can imagine it would be blue in a sketch, same way here. They can move around however they want to. So up here on the top are mates on the close left, from the fasten down here to the width. Now, all these are very important, but really, the one you're going to be using most of the time is going to be the fasten mate. The fasten mate removes all degrees of freedom between two entities. So here, as an example, I'm going to choose a fasten mate. Then let's say I want to put this end of the 2x1 right here to the flat face of the other 2x1. What I'm going to do is select 2 points. We'll do the right side of the 2x1 on that end, and the other side of this 2x1 on this flat face right here. Now, you can see here that it's overlapping. My 2x1s right now are constrained at the exact same point, so they're inside of each other. And that just can't happen. So what I'm going to do is I can either flip my primary axis here to change the... It's lagging. One moment. One moment. Okay. There we go. Okay. So I can choose to flip my primary axis here, which, just like the extrusion, will flip the side that is going through, or that is mated. So here, obviously, if I have my 2x1s that are inside of each other, again, that just can't happen. So instead, I'm going to flip that axis away, so they're no longer inside of each other. But let's say that maybe my 2x1 is on the wrong side. Maybe it's here when I really want it to be facing this direction, towards my right instead of my left here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click that reorient secondary axis button, and that's going to rotate. So I'm going to leave it like this right here. That's where I want to be. So I'm going to push that green check mark again. Say my fasten is good to go. And now, if I drag one of the parts, you see here that it can't move at all. They cannot move away from each other. They are fastened together. They have no degrees of freedom between each other. Okay. Now for a planar mate. A planar mate is the other most common one you're probably going to be using. And what that does is that it connects two sides of a piece, or two planes of a piece, together and keeps them parallel, and it keeps them from moving apart. So if I have, let's say I want the top parts of my 2x1s to be parallel, and I want them to be at the same height. I can use a planar mate here. I can click on the top part of one of my 2x1s. So I'm going to click on that face. You can see here, it's going to go through. It's highlighting that top part of that face. And then I'm going to click the other 2x1 top part, that top face. So if I let that go through, you'll see here that when I move these parts around, they have degrees of freedom, but those two top planes can no longer go away from each other. They're not at the same height. They're parallel. And again, like the other tools, these mates if you hold down or just hover over them, they will tell you what they do. And they're all pretty intuitive, but I recommend that as a beginner cadder, just to stay with the fasten, the planer, and then maybe go on to Revolute if you need a rotational or the slider mate. These 4 are your big ones, and they're the ones that you'd be using the most often, especially in FRC. So, where are we all at over here? Doing pretty good? Okay.
I used that tool. I didn't get the same results that I did with it.
Okay. And in mates, want to be very careful, actually. So, if you're following along a key was and you didn't get the exact same result I did, that might come from not having the exact same thing selected. Mates are very dependent on where you select of the part. So if I go back to a fasten mate here, and instead of selecting the same axis here, so I'm selecting that end, I have the up and down of this one, but then I select maybe just a random, that's the correct one, hold on. I just select maybe a random hole. It's going to be all over the place here. It's going to be way off. So you want to make sure that, especially now, you want to make sure that you're selecting the exact same points that I am. But you can always just play around with it a little bit until you get the exact result you're looking for. And if you do accidentally select the wrong point, what you can do, like if I select this hole right down here, I can hover over on that mate connectors part, on that fasten, on that mate connectors in that blue. You can hover over the different parts, and you can see where maybe you went awry. So here I am looking over, and I can see that, yep, I selected that circle right there, and I can see which one is which. So the top one is the one I don't want to delete. This bottom one right here is the circle. That's not where I want to be, so I can delete that. And then I can remate to another point, to the correct point. And then check mark again. Okay. So we have about 15 minutes left right now. And I want to talk about 2 big other things real quick. Number 1 is the MK CAD inserter. So again, it's in that blue MK down on the bottom right, on your right side of your screen. So this is about everything you could ever think of on it, every big part for FRC, including storage drive. So our drivetrains consist of, we have Mark IVi, but you can just click on that part, search it up, click on it, and insert it in. Again, that'd be clicking on it, then insert it in the bottom right there, and that'll put in that storage drive for you, or put in any part you want from NK CAD. So it's taking a while for me to load, but that is how you insert using MK CAD. Now I want to move on to back to the main part, if it'll let me. Oh, what's up? Oh, for the, talking about this right here. Ish. Hold on. Give it a minute. I won't lie to you guys. Using MKCAD though, is pretty bad for especially like a MacBook. Using these parts that have so many that are just really dense, that have many components to it, makes it really hard on your computer, and it makes your performance tank.
Yeah, there have been times that I have been unable to do CAD because of
Yeah.
I just quit. I'm like, you guys can do it.
So be very careful with inserting very complex parts. In MKCAD, actually, they have a lot of simplified ones too. So if I actually go to electronics, it's a very big one. If I go to PDH here, I can choose under PDH. I can choose if I want it to be a fully populated with breakers PDH or a simplified model. Now, what that does is that's going to actually help me with my performance and make sure that I'm not destroying my computer, destroying my laptop. So you can see here, pretty simplified, nothing too crazy. So it's going to help my computer run better. You can already see that how it's tanking my computer a little bit. So I'd be pretty wary with using a bunch of MK CAD high like feature part or high feature count parts.
Can you change the way that renders? I mean, would it change the speed if there's a different rendering?
That's what technically you can. You can also, if you really want to, you can just isolate or hide or suppress a part here. So I can suppress an entire module, that entire storage drive, now that my computer's running smoothly. So that's just the eyeball button. Or if you really want it to go even farther, you can fully suppress it. That's going to act like it's not even there at all. Okay. Before we go here, I want to quickly go over changing your part's appearance and its material. So with the rules of weight in FRC, it's pretty important to know how heavy your robot's going to be before you actually get it fully built. So you're not scrapping for trying to get rid of parts along the way. You're trying to find weight. So what you can do is you can right-click on a part in a part studio. So I'm back in my 2x1x29. I'm under this part feature section down here. I can right-click on it, and then I can assign it a material. Now, the aluminum that we use is 6061 aluminum. And Onshape library has a large amount of materials already stored. So I can just type that in, any material that I have, and apply it. Now what this does is that it allows me to measure the weight of my entire robot, especially in a full assembly. So I can see here that my 2x1 is about 1.805 pounds. That's using the aluminum material density. Now also for looks and also just to keep them more organized too, you can change your materials appearance, your parts appearance, by right-clicking and then doing edit appearance right here. So then I can make any color I want. Okay. Now, I'm going to let you guys kind of work through that for a moment, get that done, and I think we're supposed to end right now, right? Are we? At 12. Okay. Okay, I'm going to let them work on that. I'll be right back for one.
Hi, Andy. The thing's coming to an end, but just wanted to say again, thank you. I'm the head of media, and this live stream was very stressful for us to figure out. Thank you, broski.
Andy, we love you. Thank you.
Okay, before we guys leave, I have a few final notes to go over. Number one, so Onshape does have a CAM program now, but you have to pay for it. So I'd recommend is either going to the add-ons area, or if you have a computer that is allowed to download stuff, that's not a regular school computer, you can download Inventor, and you can make an Inventor education account, and that will give you the ability to CAM. So you can take apart from Onshape and move it over to Inventor and CAM there, which is very helpful. And then to actually go through and learn more about CAD, I'd recommend doing the 100 Days of Onshape, which is through Onshape, and it takes you from, again, very beginner all the way up to, pretty masterclass level. So it's pretty good, and that's free too. So I'd recommend that. And I think, besides that, do we have any big questions before we go? Anything else?
You were mentioning the weight.
Yep.
How did it determine the weight again? Show that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. For everyone, before we leave quickly, I'm going to go over the weight again. So in assembly here, what's up? Yeah, the packets are yours, guys, by the way. But for weight, what it does is that when you assign a material to a piece, it assigns it a density. So then the CAD program will do the math behind it. So it'll measure out how much volume you have. So then you can select the scale icon on the bottom right. Then you can select your part to measure. So I'm selecting my 2x1 and my part studio for it. And it will tell me the entire mass of the piece. So again, that is on the very bottom right, the scale icon. And then I'm selecting what parts to measure. My 2x1, my part 1, you can also select it just the part itself in your control area. And that'll tell you the weight, tell you the volume, and then it also will show you the center of gravity for that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for doing that.
Yep. I was telling him too, but for games like last year, which require climbing that is pretty dependent on your center of gravity too, when you have an assembly of multiple parts, you can do it with your entire robot too, but I'll just do it with the 2x1 here. If I have my two 2x1s right here, I can use the scale, I can use that center mass property to show me the center mass entirely. So it'll give me where my center mass is right here, which is very helpful, especially if, like the deep climb, right, where you're very dependent on where your robot center mass is, or center of gravity is, so you can lift it up the right spot.
You can select the whole robot.
Yep. And so I did that before, but the only problem is that whenever you have such a big assembly, it takes like 5 minutes to select the entire thing. So it takes a while. So that's the only problem. You have to have pretty good internet to be able to do that fully. So I've still been loading in this small assembly right here for a while. So again, that's why you should probably use the more simplified parts and try to keep it. Try to also have better internet. So if you have like right now we're on LPS gas, which is it's not a great Wi-Fi. So it's going to really tank your ability because I mean, OnShip's still only a web browser. It's not off of your computer. It's off of the OnShip website, that program. So, all right. Anything else, guys? Anything else you need to ask? Yeah. What? You guys are good to go. Thank you guys so much.